Welcome, today we're in the studio. If like me you've been watching a lot of golf, at the minute he seems to be on 24/7 over the weekend with all the different events. Okay, something I've come to pick up is short game. Quite a few so-called professionals, the short game looks a little bit, So, I'm here in the studio today, I'm going to be showing you how I work on my short game. Something in the studio is absolutely brilliant. You can do what I'm going to show you in the lounge, in your garden, you can do it wherever. Not looking at end results, just concentrating on the strike. Right, when I'm chipping, especially around the green, I use one of my three wedges mainly. I use either my 50 degree, my 54, or my 60. But my technique doesn't change. I use the same style, same technique. I was taught this many years ago by a short game genius. He stuck with me. Anybody that plays with me will admit I've got a very good short game. These are the reasons why, and I want to let you see at home, the viewer, why. Something you can do. It's not overly technical, it's not overly complicated, but it will work. I was always taught, first of all, my 60 degree, so naturally I will always go back to my 60 degree wedge. And I'm going to show you now what I was taught and what I do. This is what I do with my routine. Go back to basics, work on my fundamentals, something you can definitely do yourselves. Yeah. I really like this drill. One of the reasons I really like it is you can do it anywhere. Okay, so this is what I do. I'll stand feet together, just set the club, take a nice grip, set the club, push my hands slightly forward, and all I'm doing here is working on a clock face. So I take that where I currently am at 6, okay, and I'm just going to start. Anybody can do this. You can do this at home, you can do it in the lounge, you can do it in the garden. In the lounge, maybe check with your wife, but you can do this anywhere, and all you're working on is the strike. Okay, and all I will do is take it back to 7, make sure I go through to 5. Start off very short. I take my position, my feet quite close together, I try and feel all my body's totally neutral. I let the club lie down naturally, I then take my grip, and all I do is put my hand slightly further forward. Okay, now, all I work on is that is at 6 o'clock. If that's at 6 o'clock, I'm going to practice to start with, just to get the strike, going back to what I feel is 7, making sure I go through to 5. Okay, so I go back to 7, through to 5. I just work on that clock face dimension. So, to 7, through to 5. Okay, all I'm trying to do is make sure I just clip the ball nicely. I'm not trying to do anything too complicated here. So it's set the club at 6, hands slightly forward, back to 7, through to 5. Again, my feet are very close together. I feel my body's very neutral. I'm not aiming anything, not opening, not closed. Hands forward, back to 7, through to 5. Okay, and I just clip the ball away. So, we go back to 7, through to 5, and I'm just clipping it away. So I'm using the 60 degree for the loft. Okay, that's what I use my different lofts for. So 60 degree, I'm going to pop it a little higher. It's going to hopefully stop a little quicker, then run a little bit. 54, it'll be a bit lower. 50, even lower, and we'll come to them in a moment. But all I'm working on is literally 7 to 5. So once I've worked on quite a few 7 to 5 swings, I'll then take it so I feel like I'm going 8 through to 4. Okay, now these obviously will start to go a bit further, but again, once you start to develop this sort of technique, your feel will come. Don't worry about that. All we're working on is making sure we're getting that strike. So all I will work on is literally, again, feet close together, body's neutral, hands forward, this time back to 8 through to 4. Okay, so it's club there, hands forward, 8 through to 4. Now, hopefully you can see some of these now are starting to really sort of pitch up. As I'm starting to lengthen the swing, they're starting to get some real flight. That's fine. Like I said, all we're working on, 8, 4. Okay, so it's body neutral, hands down, I'm at 6, 8, 4. Okay, and all you're working on is just the strike. That's all I work on. It's just making sure I'm getting the strike. So everything feels neutral. 8, 4. Coming a little heavy on that one. Okay, but it's purely just hands forward, 8, 4, and just clip it off the tuff. Obviously, as you go with this, you can go longer. Now, as we start going, I would then work on going to 9 through to 3. Okay, but we're starting to get now into real pitching. I'm not going into that level at this stage. Okay, that one I feel you need to be more on a course. But for a nice simple drill for beginners, even amateurs, you know, like I say, I've watched professionals struggling with the short game. I think this is a really nice drill. Just use the clock face. So just to recap, that is 6, start 7 to 5. Once you've done a few of them, go 8 to 4. Okay, and all you're doing is just clipping the ball. Okay, let the club do the work. Don't get handsy, don't get wristy, just let the club do the work. Now I've gone to my 54-degree wedge. Okay, but I do the same technique. So again, it's set the club at 6, hands forward, and I'll just do 7 through. Now this one's going to come off a little lower because obviously it's less loft. Okay, so again, I always start with that nice and simple, feeling like I'm just 7 to 5. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're hitting a couple, you're just getting that feel. Everything's neutral, the club sits neutral, hands forward, 7, 5. Okay, just concentrate on getting that strike. And you'll start to see, if you start with a 60, it starts off you get a touch more loft. This is getting a little bit lower now. Okay, I'm not getting the same height, maybe a touch more run out. And once the summer comes, you can get on the practice screen and start to really look at it. I'll start now, even with my 50-degree, I'm working on 7 to 5. Now, with it being 50-degree, I anticipate these are going to come out a lot lower. Okay, maybe a bit less spin, but 7, 5. And all I'm working on is just clipping the ball. Not doing anything fancy, not manipulating. 7, 5. Okay, I actually think the shorter swing helps you work on that strike a bit. It stops the club drifting off. Okay, again, my body, everything's neutral. My feet are quite close together. Set the club at 6, hands forward, 7, 5. Okay, and just get it just popping. It's almost like a little bump and run this because of the 50-degree loft. Done my 7 to 5 with my 50. Now, I'll do what I feel is my 8 to 4. So it's 8 through to 4. Same like I say, everything, nothing changes. 8, 4. 8, 4. Okay, don't manipulate the face, you don't need to. I see a lot of amateurs, a lot of high handicappers try and manipulate the face, don't need to. All you need to remember, this is neutral, hands forward I feel. So it's neutral, I feel very neutral over the ball, set the club, push my hands slightly forward, and all I'm thinking then is 8, 4. And if anything, it'll help you extend that follow through because some amateurs stab at the ball. Okay, they do a kick back and then it's stop. Make sure you follow it through. So 8, 4. So I would then obviously go to 9 to 3, but I think we've seen enough of that now. This technique works with any club. I could go to my pitching wedge, my 9 iron, my 8 iron, my 7 iron, etc. It's the same technique, just like the club sit natural, hands forward, and just think you're on that clock face. It's a really nice technique. As I say, I was taught it many years ago, still doing it now, probably 15 to 20 years later. Start with loft though, loft is your friend. Let me know how you get on with this. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't for more instructional and helpful tips. Thank you for watching.